A young boy from scheduled caste falls in love with a girl from upper caste, but what will happen when he is harassed by her brother? Dhadak 2 is not just a love story where the difference in caste becomes a villain. There's more to it. It's a deep dive into the prevalent caste system in India that will leave you with questions. This story is about a young boy Neelesh who is financially poor but is happy in his small world with his friends and family. He lives in Bhimnagar, a colony where people who belong to scheduled caste live together. Neelesh also belongs to scheduled caste and he has a drum band with his friends and they often go to wedding functions to play drums and earn some money. But it's not enough and so now Neelesh has decided what he is going to do in life. He is going to do polytechnic, learn the skills and get a job and earn his living. He does not have any big dreams. He does not want to rule the world or be the next slumdog millionaire. He just wants to make a good living and live his life. But then, one day, something happens that changes the direction of his life. Neelesh is casually sitting by a pond and playing with his pet dog Birju, while some of his friends are also taking bath in the pond. Then some boys who belong to the upper caste see them from the other side. And they definitely do not like them, because right then, one of them starts pissing in that pond. This frustrates Neelesh and his friends. But they are not surprised. They are very much aware of the hatred and disgust these upper caste people held for them. It was usual for them to face such discrimination. And although they are pissed at this, they know they can't do much to stop this. So they get up and leave from there. But after some point, they realize that their dog Birju is missing. They search for him but cannot find him anywhere. Then one of his friends points out that those upper caste boys could have done something with Birju. Now Neelesh starts to feel scared for Birju because this is a possibility. So Neelesh runs to the nearby railway track to look for Birju. And his friend was right. Birju is there on the railway track, tied to it and helpless. Those boys had taken Birju and tied him on the railway track. Neelesh runs to free him, but he is late by a few seconds. His dog Birju is crushed by the train in front of him, for no fault of his, only because he belonged to people who were from scheduled caste. This event leaves a deep scar on Neelesh. But it's not over yet. Just after they bury their dog Birju's body, police come and arrest them for the killing of Birju. They are shocked. They haven't done it. It was their pet dog and the police are arresting them. Neelesh and his friends rebel. They tell the police that they haven't done anything, but the police just do not listen to them. So Neelesh's mother comes and intervenes. She asks the police officer why he is arresting them and what proof do they have that Neelesh and his friends have killed Birju. But instead of answering her questions, that police officer slaps her in front of everyone. Again, for no valid reason. Neelesh witnesses it, but he is helpless. He is under arrest and his mother stands there, still shocked from the slap. So Neelesh and his friends are taken to the police station and the police beat them heavily, for no solid reason at all. Right then, Neelesh's mother comes to the police station with the lawyer, and this time the behavior of that police officer changes. Now he is listening to them and treating them with much respect because now there is a lawyer with her. The lawyer tells police that they actually do not have any evidence to arrest Neelesh and his friends, and so after a while they are all released. Things have calmed down now and they're back to their home, but this incident has shaken Neelesh and his mother. For Neelesh, he is angry at the fact that the police officer slapped his mother, but for his mother, she is thinking about something else. She noticed how things changed when the lawyer came and how Neelesh and his friends were immediately released. She realizes the power a lawyer holds, and she has understood that to live your life with dignity, you need to fight for your rights. So she wants Neelesh to become a lawyer. But Neelesh is skeptical of this idea. He has never dreamt of studying or doing anything big like that. His plan was simple and influenced by the world he grew up seeing. But when he sees his mother's faith in him, he agrees to do it. So now he is applying for a good college to study BA LLB. And luckily, he gets admission into a prestigious college of the country through his caste quota. He is happy now. Things are going well. He will study, become a lawyer and then earn good money. And the good thing is, since his admission is through his caste quota, he does not have to worry about the big fees. His fees have been waived. But there's a problem with it. That seat reservation and fellowship through which he got admission, a lot of people have problems with that. Especially people who do not belong to scheduled caste, they believe it to be wrong and raise their voice against it. And it's happening in his college too. There are students who are against it and are asking the authority to remove the fellowship quota. But there is also a group of students who protest against this. It is led by a boy named Shekhar who also got his admission through his caste quota. He stands by the fellowship quota and holds protests and campaigns in the college to spread awareness on why fellowship is necessary for the upliftment of people of lower caste. And since Neelesh also got admission through this fellowship, Shekhar offers him to join his group. But Neelesh politely refuses because he does not want to be involved in any protests or politics. He is here to study. He has his priorities clear. So Neelesh does not join Shekhar's group. But then a few days later, Neelesh stumbles upon a girl in his college. And it's a known face. He knows her. It's Vidhi. He has met her before. He had met her at a wedding function where he was playing drums with his friends. And she had taken his number to book his band for her sister's wedding. But Vidhi doesn't remember him clearly. So Nilesh reminds her. Now she remembers him. And then it's a non-stop conversation between the two. Because Vidhi is a very talkative girl and she always has questions to ask. And turns out she's also doing BA LLB and they're in the same class. And her cousin brother Ronnie is also in the same class. Then, on the first day of the class, as everyone's giving their introduction, Neelesh starts to feel a bit ashamed because he notices that almost everyone in the class is from the upper caste and comes from affluent families. So he feels ashamed within, and when it's his turn to tell his name, he just says Neelesh. And when his professor asks him for the title, he just adds BA LLB to it, and this gives everyone a good laugh. Meanwhile, as he and Vidhi spend more time together, talking to each other, they become good friends. One day, as they're having their class, their professor catches Neelesh doodling on his notebook and he takes his chance to call him out for his caste quota, saying that he's wasting a seat and he does not know its value because he got it for free. This makes Neelesh really upset. He does not feel good about being called out for his caste quota. So later, when Vidhi goes to him to talk to him, he tells her that people think the quota they get for being scheduled caste is free and a privilege, but it's actually not. They have to pay a price for it every day. When people discriminate against them, when people show hatred and disgust towards them for no reason at all, when people treat them less than humans, and they have been facing it for years. So the fellowship they get is not for free. Vidhi understands him. She realizes how much caste discrimination is still prevalent in the world, something she never knew about because she was never on the receiving end. And then Nilesh ends up telling her about his pet dog Birju and how he lost him, how he was killed for no reason, but just because he belonged to him. This confession deepens their bond as Vidhi starts to understand him better as a person. And over time, as she also starts helping him in his studies by teaching him English, they spend more time together and they get along with each other even better. Meanwhile, Vidhi's sister is about to get married, and Vidhi decides to invite Nilesh to the wedding too. But her brother Ronnie knows about their friendship. He reminds Vidhi to maintain his distance with Nilesh because of his caste. But Vidhi does not listen to him. Instead, she talks back to him right there, and Ronnie has to back off. But he's keeping an eye on them. So Vidhi goes to the college and gives the card to Nilesh and invites him for the wedding. But as Nilesh reads the card, he realizes that Vidhi's mother died when she was just small. Vidhi gets emotional as she is reminded of her mother's demise and she tells Nilesh about her. She tells him how her mother died of cancer when she was just small. She did not know much about it back then. But now she misses her a lot. She tells him that her father has raised them, fulfilling their mother's role too. And then she starts crying. Out of affection, Nilesh holds her hand to support her, and Vidhi ends up kissing him. After this, their bond grows more understanding and closer towards each other. And soon, the day of the Vidhi's sister's wedding comes. Nilesh is excited. He wears the best of his clothes and goes to the wedding. Vidhi is happy as she sees him. The wedding happens and they both dance on the floor with others. But then, as Nilesh goes to have his food, Vidhi's father comes to him. He had been seeing him and Vidhi throughout the wedding. He understood that they liked each other, and he also knew about Nilesh's caste. So he takes him away from the wedding party to talk to him about it. He tells him that he knows he likes Vidhi and she also likes him. But then he tells him that just because they study in the same college does not mean they are equal. He is about to say more, but right then, Ronnie and his friends punch Neelesh on his face and start thrashing him, beating him with sticks brutally. Vidhi's father tries to stop them, but they are just not stopping. Finally, he pushes them away. But Ronnie is still there and he starts pissing on Neelesh as he lies on the floor, folded and crying while trying to protect himself from the sudden attack. Vidhi's father stops Ronnie and sends him away. But before leaving, he wants Neelesh to stay away from Vidhi, saying that if they stay together, Ronnie will kill them both. This event traumatizes Neelesh. He lays there crying because of this incident, and from that day, he starts to avoid Vidhi. He does not go to college for the next few days. Vidhi is also worried as Neelesh is not picking her calls anymore, and she hasn't met him since the wedding night, so she goes to his house to find out the reason. But when Neelesh sees her, he is not happy. He tells her to go, but Vidhi rebels and starts questioning him, where he has been and why he is avoiding her suddenly. But Neelesh does not tell her anything about the incident. Instead, to make her stay away from him, he says that they are just friends, there is nothing between them. She doesn't have to get so personal with him. Vidhi knows he is just making excuses. And when she questions him again, Neelesh starts to show her the difference between them. He shows her the place he lived in and then tells her about the work he and people around him do. Vidhi understands what he is trying to say, but she tells him that she does not care about it. She is okay with his caste and his background. But Neelesh still persists and maintains his distance with her. Upset and hurt, Vidhi leaves. And from that day on, the two live like strangers. They do not interact and talk to each other in class. Nilesh is staying away from her, but deep within, he has anger against Ronnie for what he did to him on the wedding night. So one day, as they're in class, suddenly Nilesh hits Ronnie in the face with the notebook during an argument. But this only costs him as the professor tells him to bring his father if he wants to continue in the college. But Nilesh can't do that because he's ashamed of his father because his father is a dancer and he dances as women in events. So he gets through this by bringing another man as his father. But his anger hasn't resolved yet. Even though he doesn't want to be involved in protest and politics, there's a fire for revenge burning inside him. So after some days, he does something that enrages Ronnie again. He goes and sits on his bench in the class. Ronnie comes and he gets angry seeing Nilesh on his seat. And soon they are on to each other, almost fighting, but Vidhi and other students stop them. Seeing Nilesh rebel against him angers Ronnie, so he goes a step ahead and hires some men to harass him even further. So one day, as Nilesh is going home, some men follow him, and after a while, they hold him and start to take him to a drain to throw him into the gutter. Nilesh is helpless and he's about to fall in the drain when a man comes and saves him. It's Shankar. He seems like a very common man from the outside, but he's actually more dangerous. He helps people in honor killing. And he does not do it for money, he does it because it's his purpose in life. In his words, he is cleaning the society by killing people of lower caste who get in relationship with upper caste people. But he does not know about Nilesh's caste yet, and Nilesh also does not know about him. So after thanking Shankar, he goes away. But the next day, as Nilesh is walking in the college corridor, Ronnie throws a bucket full of gutter on his face. More than anger, Nilesh feels embarrassed of being harassed like this. Everyone is seeing him. Feeling helpless and ashamed, he starts to leave, but Vidhi sees him, and she knows it's her cousin brother Ronnie behind this. So she goes to him and starts shouting at him. She knows he is doing this because she and Neelesh were close. So she tells him to stay away from her life. But Ronnie also starts shouting at her. But as he holds her hair in anger, Neelesh comes behind her and rubs his hand on Ronnie's face, painting his face with black gutter too. Ronnie is angry now, and right when they're about to fight, the professor catches them. He suspends Ronnie and tells Neelesh to bring his father to meet with him. But this time, Neelesh decides to bring his real father. His father is skeptical, he does not want to come, but Neelesh insists him, so he meets his professor. And while talking to his father, the professor notices that Neelesh feels ashamed of his father, his background and his caste. So he tells his father to go, but asks Neelesh to stay for a while. And he talks to him. He tells him that he understands his shame, as he is also from scheduled caste. He understands the discrimination, disgust and harassment he has to face because of it. But he tells him that if he ever has to choose between fighting and dying, always choose to fight. Always fight for your rights and yourself. As Neelesh comes out of the office, he learns that Ronnie and his friends are harassing his father. He runs to his father but finds him on the floor, injured and crying from shame. Ronnie and his friends had torn out his clothes and made fun of his profession of dancing in front of everyone. Neelesh is angry and wants to avenge this, but his father needs him right now. Meanwhile, with his arguing and fighting with Ronnie in her home, her father and uncle are also there, and she tells them how Ronnie is harassing Neelesh just because they were good friends. Vidhi thinks very well of her father. She considers him her hero and she told Neelesh also about it once. So she is thinking that her father would help her by telling Ronnie to stop harassing Neelesh. She thinks he's not someone who believes in discrimination against lower caste people. But she is disappointed because her father remains silent. He does not say much to Ronnie, only that he can get jailed if he keeps harassing Neelesh like that. And after realizing that her father can also not help her in this as she expected, Vidhi just leaves feeling helpless and disappointed. And after taking his father home, Neelesh is ready to take his revenge on Ronnie. But as he is leaving, his father stops him. He tells him that that's not how you fight back against this. This is not a real fight. He tells about himself to Neelesh, that everyone laughed at his passion for dancing, but he loved it, so he fought for it. He fought for his passion. He tells Neelesh to fight for something real and not by physically hurting someone. This makes Neelesh stop and think, and he realizes that instead of just fighting against Ronnie, he can actually fight against the whole discrimination thing that happens against them by joining the group of Shekhar, because he protests for the same reason. And he recalls that Shekhar had told him so many times to join them in protest, to speak up and fight for their rights, but he had declined each time because he did not want to fight. But now it's time to fight, and he has made up his mind. So he goes to his college to find Shekhar, only to find him hanging in his room. Shekhar has committed suicide. Neelesh is devastated and he starts to feel that it's his fault because Shekhar needed his help. He asked him to join them in the protest, but he did not. And when things got hard on Shekhar, when he got suspended for protesting and holding campaigns in college, he found himself alone and ultimately chose death. This incident shakes Neelesh from within. Now he has lost two important figures from his life. First Birju and now Shekhar. Both only because they belong to scheduled caste and got harassed by people. The entire college is shaken by Shekhar's suicide. Vidhi is also there. and after a long time, Neelesh talks to her. He is vulnerable at this moment and tells her that he is feeling scared for himself and for her too. But Vidhi reassures him that nothing will happen to him. They will be okay, and she asks him to get back together like they were before. But Neelesh denies it. Vidhi asks him why he's doing this. She asks him if it's because Ronnie is harassing him, but Neelesh does not tell her about the wedding incident. He does not tell her what happened to him at the wedding because he knows that she loves her father, and if she gets to know what his father did to him on the wedding night, her trust and bond with her father will be broken. So he keeps his silence and just leaves. But on his way, Neelesh meets Shankar. Shankar was riding his bike when he suddenly fell from it. They know each other from their first interaction, so he goes to help him, and Shankar asks him to drop him on his bike. Neelesh agrees, and he starts riding Shankar's bike as he sits behind him. But Neelesh does not know about Shankar's true intention. He is actually here to kill him. Ronnie and his father have hired Shankar for this work. Ronnie knew that Vidhi's father will never take any big action as he has a soft spot for Vidhi, so he decided to get Neelesh killed to protect their family's honor. So after a while, Shankar tells Neelesh to stop midway, and as he did, he hits him on the head with a helmet. Neelesh passes out right there, but when he wakes up, he is lying on the railway track. Shankar has put him there, and as the train is about to come there, Neelesh wakes up at the right moment and slips off the track and saves himself. He sees Shankar on the other side of the railway track and realizes that he tried to kill him, so he runs to escape. But he is injured from the hit, so he falls short and soon Shankar catches him and starts hitting him to kill him. Neelesh is trying to fight but he is unable to because of his injury, and at one moment Shankar is just about to kill him by strangling him, but right then Neelesh remembers the words of his professor that if you ever get to choose between fighting or dying, always choose to fight. And the faces of Birju and Shekhar flashed before him. Something in him gets activated and he takes over Shankar and starts beating the hell out of him. Now he's fighting with all he has, to his every breath, and Shankar is on the ground, injured and defeated. But right then, Neelesh spots Ronnie nearby, and after seeing Neelesh hitting Shankar like wild, Ronnie runs for his life. Neelesh realizes that it was him who hired Shankar to kill him. So this time, he chases after Ronnie. He's not going to let him go. And after a good chase, when Ronnie has almost reached his house, Neelesh gets hold of him and starts thrashing him. And Ronnie keeps calling for his father for help. But Neelesh is on him, he's not going to stop. But since Ronnie is calling for help, after a while his father, Vidhi, and her father come out. They try to stop Neelesh but he doesn't. Finally, as he is about to hit Ronnie with an iron rod, he stops. And then he turns to Vidhi's father. And this time he is going to speak for himself. He is going to speak the truth. He starts telling him how they all harassed him at the wedding, how he was beaten by them just because he belonged to a scheduled caste, and how Ronnie pissed at him that night. As he is speaking, it starts to make Vidhi's father uncomfortable because everyone in his colony is out and looking at them. They are all listening to Neelesh, and this revelation is going to cost him his reputation. But of all, Vidhi is shocked. She didn't know her father did this to Neelesh, so he tries to stop Neelesh, but he doesn't. He is going to speak for himself this time. So he tells them all about the harassment they did on him, bullying his father, throwing gutter on his face, and finally hiring a man to kill him. All because they think he is somehow smaller than them and deserves less respect because of his caste. But he tells them that in reality, they are the ones who are less than humans and do not deserve respect because of how they think about people of certain caste, because they judge people based on their caste and harass them for it. Finally, Neelesh has spoken his truth. He said what he wanted to say, and Vidhi's father stands there feeling ashamed of what they did. And Vidhi is just there, feeling sad for what Neelesh had to go through. But right then, Ronnie's father comes out with a revolver, ready to shoot Neelesh. But Vidhi had enough by now. She goes to Neelesh, stands with him, turns to her uncle and starts screaming at her peak. And with that scream, she makes it clear that she has chosen Neelesh and it's her life. She gets to decide who she wants to be with, and no one else gets to decide that. She is not someone else's honor to protect. And she finally hugs Neelesh and he holds her too, making their decision loud and clear. Then after some months, we see that Neelesh is in the class giving his exam, and he's sitting where Ronnie used to sit. Vidhi is also there writing her exam. But suddenly, Neelesh's pen stops working. He is shaking it to make it work, but it is not. Then suddenly, someone offers him a pen from behind. It's Ronnie. He has finally understood his lesson, and Neelesh has finally got the dignity and respect he deserves by fighting for it. All because he chose to fight for himself and his right, just like his professor taught him to. This was the story of Dhadak 2. Hope you enjoyed it.